What a spectacular day it is in Chingford. This is the River Lee flood canal stroke. It's not the navigation, because the navigation is left to me. It's not the River Lee proper, because that's the right to me. River Lee, part of the River Lee bypass. It's so dry here today. It's an absolute scorch here in London, and well, Essex. That gate there, that fence there, used to separate. It was the border between Essex and Middlesex, because that's where the River Lee was, and rivers used to obviously commonly use borders. But look at that down there now. Right, if it carries on like this today, you'll be able to walk through there. I've never seen it this low. It's even lower behind me, where you've actually got dry concrete bits. Can you see that? And there's parts there of the River Lee diversion and the River Lee flood relief canal. But it's always fascinating here. Utterly fascinating. You've got some of the biggest reservoirs in England over there, and it's another critical, God Lord, another critical area for management. And what's really interesting to see that even that is low, which is sort of technically connected to the reservoirs as a flood relief canal. A lot of it isn't. In the meanwhile, this is the old turbine hall, which is grade 2 listed, and all the windows have recently been smashed. It's got a duff in the roof there. And look at the water level here. I was just curious to come up to check to see that level, whether it had gone down, but of course it hadn't, because the flood relief canal, when it was put in 1950, wasn't connected, was it? Anyway, the other reason is because there's a 451-foot borehole here, and this is one of my favourite buildings. This is the original, erected in 1896 pumping station by William Booth Bryan, the chief engineer for East London Waterworks. And they're really making a hash of it, to be honest with you. Thames Water have still got access, but they've, as part of the sell-off, the original guide price was 1.6 million. It eventually reached something like 800,000 pounds for all this. But they're really hashing it up. Look, they breezed up those blocks, those arches, something like 3 years ago. Now they're just putting grates over it. And they're really, really slowly. This is a fantastic building. The reason for the tower is because they needed to have lifting gear to go down the well that's underneath. What's more fascinating? Well, that's not fascinating. That's but that was part of the planning permission to build sort of flats there. But they've conked out. This has been a 2-year project. What is fascinating here is that, as I said, there's an aquifer here, which means the water never stops rising automatically. And I've been up here before seeing water rising, pure water. You could drink this. The Copper Mill stream actually runs from here, despite what you read on Wiki. If you've got the maps, you know. I've adjusted Wiki enough times, but even the gates here are grade 2 listed. Can you believe that? The railings are grade 2 listed. And look, they've tried to refabricate that because they know that they have a duty to repair it and replace it. You can hear the electric turbine in there now, still used by Thames Water. But another fascinating thing is that the flats that are being sold off are the ones in the lower level are being classed as category 3, and the ones in the upper level are being classed as category 3. The ones in the lower level are being classed as category 3A. Now you've got an aquifer underneath, which technically is unstoppable because the Victorians, William Booth Bryan, bored down there himself. You've got reservoirs behind me. You've got a stream here that doesn't work, and you're talking about category, that's all rubbish, isn't it? Anyway, enjoy the day. That's the reservoir up there, which is higher than the flats. Join us.